to be Podsmacked. Now, here's Rob Carson.
It's already Wednesday. How are you? Welcome to the show. I have much I want to get to. Some political, some not so much. Lots of audio to get to, and of course, your comments in real time. Welcome. You can see them right there below, this post, which is pinned to the very top of the American Journal Review. Also, we've got several other sites that are allowing this. Also, if you wouldn't mind, please, checking out the show on LibertyOneTV.com, LibertyOneTV.com. It's very important that you go there because we never know what's going to happen on social media. A buddy of mine, and maybe you've seen him on Fox News, Dan Bongino. I was the first guy to put him on the radio in Washington, D.C., and he got yanked from Twitter. He got yanked from Twitter, and he lost thousands of followers, okay? Lost thousands of followers. And he issued a plea today, help me out, man, because conservative voices are being shut down. They are being shut down. And we've got to fight this, man. We've got to fight this. And we've got this wonderful cast of characters on LibertyOneTV.com and these Facebook pages. But there are people who are actively trying to shut us down. While, by the way, promoting leftist ideology. So, LibertyOneTV.com, LibertyOneTV.com. Will you join us there, too? Really, really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. All right. Did you see this today? Did you see what happened in the White House today? Did you see the, it's not a roundtable meeting, but did you see the chat the president did with all sorts of people, with kids, with parents, with parents of victims of shootings in schools, including Columbine dad whose kid was killed? Did you see this? It was a terrific discussion today. It was what I've been saying the last few days because nobody in this country wants more school shootings. Nobody in this country says, I'd rather have kids die than take my gun away. All right? Nobody's saying that. And I refuse to let people say to me that because I support the Second Amendment, you are either on our side or you're against us. Bull crap. Today, what happened in the White House was terrific. I don't have the audio from it, but it was terrific. It really was. And there was a civil discourse. You don't hear that a lot of the times from some people. A civil discourse. And Donald Trump went at it from a, most probably more pro-gun stance, more focusing on mental illness, more focusing on school security, all of that stuff. And when I tell you how administrators, law enforcement, FBI dropped the ball on this Florida shooting, this could have been stopped, man. This could have been stopped. The fact that this happened is not guns' fault, okay? The fact is that there were a lot of tone-deaf people that despite all of these shootings that are happening, they didn't listen. It was obvious. The kids in the school, when they heard the bullets flying, you know what they said? We knew it was going to be Nicholas Cruz, man. We knew it was going to happen. We told people about it. This should piss you off, all right? Regardless of what side of the gun debate you're on. People dropped the damn ball on this, all right? So I'm going to get to all of that. CNN, MSNBC using kids to promote their anti-gun agenda. Not a big surprise. I'm going to share some audio on that. I do want to mention something real quick because something special is happening on Friday. You see that cooker on the left there? See that cooker right there? I've got the manufacturer, the maker of that cooker on the show on Friday. He is a veteran. He's an amazing guy. And Noah Glanville came back from Iraq. He had PTSD. And he said, there's some veterans who threw a barbecue for him and his unit. And he said, when I smelled barbecue, I knew I was home. He's going to join me on Friday, and we're going to give away one of those We're going to give away one of those pit barrel cookers, $300 value. I did a video earlier today on Facebook. If you've seen it, it's about 6 minutes long. It's fun. We're giving away one of those suckers on Friday during this show, 5 p.m. Central Standard, right here and on liberty1tv.com. Also, on twitch.com, Rob Carson Show, because I'm also on Twitch. I do a show at 6 generally, but I'm gonna sign on early on Twitch on Friday. But we're gonna give away. You don't want to leave your TV, your computer. You want to watch it on Friday, because I'm gonna basically at the end of the show, I'm gonna ask you a question about the show, and the first person to get the question right, I'm gonna ask you about some sort of content that I talked about. All right, and then somebody's gonna win that $300 cooker, and it's gonna be delivered to their house. And I've learned a lot about this today. I was always afraid because I had a electric smoker and cooker. And finally, a buddy of mine named Meathead Goldwyn said, Rob, you got to learn to cook with real fire, not electric fire. Sorry, my hair's a mess. That better? Not much. So anyway, we're giving that away on Friday. And then on Saturday, my cooking blog that I'm doing, my live video blog, on Saturday, we are going to be doing a massive show on hot sauce and barbecue sauce. All right, and I've got Original Juan's, this great bottler of Tabascos and hot sauces and barbecue sauces. We're going to give you a gift basket. So if you're into heat, fantastic. Also, Saturday at noon, we're going to be at an indoor gun range called Frontier Justice. It is in the Kansas City area, and we're going to go and we're going to learn about assault weapons, and we're going to shoot some. All right, so noon here, Saturday, we're going to do that. What did you expect so much from your computer? Inga, nice to have you. Hello there, Joni and Alice. Glad to have you guys here this evening. Okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes. As I mentioned, there was a terrific meeting by the president, and Betsy DeVos was there. She's the Secretary of Education, who I find just enormously attractive. Am I the only person? I just think she's really, and I know that maybe that'll make you feel like whatever. But damn, I think she's hot. Anyway, Betsy DeVos was there. You had a lot of people who were survivors of this shooting there. Some saying we need to have instructors trained in concealed carry and all of that. And then there were some people who said, we need to ban guns. But you know what? Even the people who say we need to ban guns or whatever, even one woman, I saw her speaking today, she said, Mr. President, I know that you lean toward having teachers be learned to, carry guns and defend themselves. But this is how I feel. And I thought that was cool as hell. I really thought it was cool as hell. The president didn't budge. He didn't budge. But he said, you know what? It's a good idea. I want to listen to it. I thought it was extraordinary. We saw the president about a month ago with a group of CEOs in his office. And they were going around the table, and they're all these world leaders of giant companies basically kissing the ring of Donald Trump. That wasn't the case today. But it was extraordinary. We saw another meeting with legislators where Donald Trump sat there in the middle of the room, went around the room, talked about whatever, even though Democrat legislators were faking it. But I thought these moments are, I think, incredible. I think they're incredible. Today's, if you didn't get a chance to see it, you've got to see this meeting with teachers, survivors, parents of victims. I thought it was extraordinary. And the one thing we have to realize is that we're all in this together. We all love our children. We all say this madness has to stop. It's not just about guns. If it were just about guns, we'd have tens of thousands of killings every year using AR-15s. That's not the case. There are profiles with regard to these shootings, particularly in the schools, that are easy to spot. Do you want to hear how easy it was to spot this one? I want you to listen to this. I'll start with this. Ariana Lopez did an interview She apparently was friends at one point with the shooter, who is Nicholas Cruz. All right, Nicholas Cruz. She apparently was friends, decided not to be friends anymore. The school had 25 separate disciplinary actions against Cruz before the shooting, including a suspension for a fight on video. Nevertheless, superintendent of the school, Robert Runcie, claimed that the staff at Douglas High School never raised the issue of Cruz or his potential threat to student safety with him. Okay? Bullcrap. When I play the audio coming up here, you're going to go, you've got to be kidding me. Because all the kids in the school knew if somebody was going to snap, it was this guy. And they told people about it. And local and law enforcement, 39 people, 39 police calls to the Cruz household while his adopted mother was alive. And then the FBI was contacted twice. A report in August 2016 by the Florida Department of Children and Family Services shows the agency investigated a Snapchat post showing Cruz cutting his arms. Was told by Cruz that he plans to go out and buy a gun. The agency determined Cruz to be stable enough not to be hospitalized. According to the DCF said in a statement it relies on the expertise of mental health professionals and law enforcement, and these records show that the DCF took the steps to involve these partners investigating this alleged abuse. At least 20 calls for service in the last few years regarding Cruz for a variety of disturbance complaints, including fighting with his mother, who died in November after contracting pneumonia. In a police report from September 28, 2016, a therapist who went on one of the calls cleared Cruz, concluding he was no threat to anyone or himself. Douglas High's administration banned Cruz from carrying a backpack on campus after discovering he had bullets in it. Everybody knew this guy was a threat. The people who were the most afraid were the students, including Ariana Lopez. Here's Ariana Lopez talking about her former friend who would become a mass murderer.
Classmate and Florida shooting suspect Nicholas Cruz started out as any normal teenage friendship does.
He would tell me about his mom and his brother.
But she says she soon saw traits she describes as disturbing emerge.
He used to sell knives out of his lunchbox, which I thought was insane because you can't have knives.
He sold knives out of his lunchbox.
This is a school. He's like, hey guys, want some knives?
As for those haunting social media posts,
he would talk about how he sympathized with Syrian terrorists and that people who oppose them should be killed. He posted pictures of 15 or more firearms just on his bed. This was normal. You could even see a hamper in the background. That's how how ordinary this was to him. He talked about killing our parents.
He had a bed loaded with an arsenal on Instagram. Now, you may not understand Instagram. I've got an Instagram account. I don't use it, right? My son has Instagram. He has Snapchat. Gosh damn it. Kids in this school saw this every day and are saying, guys, watch, look at this. There's something very wrong. And the administrators looked at these kids and went, The ball was dropped in so many damned ways, and somebody has to be held accountable. Somebody has to be held accountable. The FBI, local law enforcement, child protective services, administrators at the school all dropped the ball, guys. They did. They dropped the damned ball.
Our friends, boyfriends, and girlfriends.
Lopez says Cruz would follow her after school. She says she and her friends reported their concerns to school officials multiple times between 2016 and 2017. Broward County Schools has not yet responded to ABC News when asked about her claims. ABC News has learned that Douglas High School disciplined Cruz 25 times, but he remained on campus.
Okay, 25 times disciplined. Instagram posts. People contacted the FBI about him twice. 39 times, I think it's 39 times, the police visited the home where this man lived with his stepmother or his adoptive mother. Nobody saw this coming. Are you out of your gosh damn mind? Here's a little bit more from Ariana Lopez. And I want you to listen to her. Because all of these kids knew and nobody listened to them.
She says she felt little shock when she learned the identity of the shooter.
I knew it. We all did. Everybody who knew him, we knew it. He was the only person that could, even before they announced that he was the shooter, we all knew it was Nick. He was the only person that we could think of that would do something like this because it was obvious that he had the power to do this.
I honestly, I don't even know what the hell to say. 17 people died. 17 people died. And the answer and the threat was right there in front of people's faces. My God in heaven. And now you've got people who are taking this and making it into a political football. And they are using kids to forward an agenda that was locked and loaded. Okay? Today in Washington, D.C., tens of thousands of people arrived at the Capitol, including some of the survivors of the shooting today, or last week, I should say. At the United States Capitol, do you think that a march, do you think that a movement in Tallahassee, another march in Tallahassee, do you think a mass movement like this happens because a bunch of students are pissed off? Do you think that it's because a bunch of students are organized enough to look through their grief and create a national movement? Are you out of your damned mind? Sheriff David Clark, former sheriff in Milwaukee, he said this has George Soros written all over it, and I'm going to explain in a second here who's behind this and how they are using children. They are using, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, they are using children to forward an agenda that is supported by radical leftists, including George Soros. And it's meant to disrupt and destroy the Constitution of this country. It is, guys. It is. It's not real. This is not real. Yes, there are a lot of kids who are scared. Yes, there are a lot of kids who are angry, but none of them are they do not have the wherewithal. They do not have the life experience. They do not understand the ins and outs of anything, but they are being guided and they are being used by radical people who've been trying to foment violence in this country, whether it be the Antifa, Occupy, the Women's March. It's all the same people, and now they're using kids. And now they're using damn kids. And if you don't understand that, then you are high. If you don't understand that children 15, 16, 17 years old who just last week were normal kids going to high school, and a kid came in and they told everybody, he's the guy who's going to do it. Local authorities, administrators, the FBI all missed it. And you expect me to believe that a bunch of kids who just last week were 16, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds going to a high school suddenly were able to organize a national movement? You are out of your effing mind. You are out of your mind. And I got to tell you, this sickens me to the core. And that there are so many people who are playing along with this, like CNN, like Allison effing Camerata. What a wretched, awful tool she is. CNN hosts are interviewing kids at this school where the shootings took place so frequently, many are becoming household names. Rather than asking generally for their thoughts on the shooting and how they're channeling their grieving, these reporters appear specifically interested in how they're going to use this incident to convince Republicans to enact new gun control restrictions. You want to talk about An arsenal locked and loaded. We are talking about an ideological arsenal that has been locked and loaded for a very long time, looking for anything, looking for any excuse to unleash it. And this is it. Oh, this is it. Oh, glory be. A school shooting where kids died. Oh, good. We can do our anti-Second Amendment marches and all of this. I'll tell you what, man. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you understand how serious this is? Good show, Mary. Glad you're opening people to the truth. Tonight on CNN, they're doing a 2-hour town hall forum with Parkland students called Stand Up. The students of Stoneman Douglas demand action. Now, they're not going to bring in the kids who think that the ROTC members should have had access to weapons. The 3 ROTC members, 2 15-year-olds and a 14-year-old, 2 boys and a girl who died. One of them admitted into West Point posthumously. They're not going to talk to some of these kids who say that we think that teachers should be armed. They're not going to talk to it. It's all going to be angry kids being given talking points about getting rid of the Second Amendment or severely limiting it, getting guns to go away. Allison Camerata has been on the forefront of all of these questions rather than focusing on the students' emotions, focusing on politics. She interviewed Emma Gonzalez the other day. So what do you say to the NRA? What the hell does that have to do with anything? Camerata, seeming unsatisfied, then asked another question. I don't have to tell you guys that they gave millions of dollars to politicians. They have a very powerful tool. How do you expect politicians who need money to keep running for office to say no to the NRA? That's a question to a 16-year-old kid. On Friday, another kid, David Hogg, who's become very well known on CNN, was asked to address lawmakers and the president. Hogg dutifully directed his message to the camera. My message to lawmakers and Congress is please take actions. Camerata set up another interview with Hogg, telling him his last appearance was a big hit. Your interview yesterday got a lot of attention with us because you made this personal appeal. You just looked at the camera and you said to everybody listening, we're children. You're adults, figure this out. Children are dying. Did you hear from any leaders? Did you hear from anybody in power after that yesterday? Camerata continued to talk to David Hogg, this kid, this 17-year-old. You said thoughts and prayers only go so far. They're cold comfort. What do you want President Trump to do? President Trump made some statements about this yesterday. He spoke of it. He didn't mention guns. John King interviewed a 16-year-old named Lilia Skinner. Said, so you'll see whether it's your governor. We're about to talk to one of your senators, people in the town I work with, Washington, D.C. There's a debate about gun control, a debate about mental health. There are some people who will say there is nothing you can do to stop somebody if they want to kill. They'll find a gun no matter the law. As a 60-year-old student who just went through this in your community with your friends, what would you say to these adults? Wow. CNN State of the Union Sunday, an entire group of Parkland students. This is less than a week. This is while funerals are happening. Guest host Dana Bash. We just heard you at the rally. You are now a part of a group called Never Again, organized by George Soros. Do you think that you and your friends are finally going to do what it takes to make a difference in the issue? What is your message to the nation's leaders after what you have been through? And David, you just heard your friend there talk about this march in March next month. What exactly are you hoping will come out of that? Wow. You want to hear some of the questions from CNN? Here we go. This is some of the questions from CNN. Adult anchors talking to children who've just been traumatized. It's quite stunning, actually.
Do you have a message for the lawmakers? Do you have a message for Congress, for the president? David, we wanted to have you back because your interview yesterday got a lot of attention with us because you made this personal appeal. I mean, you just looked at the camera and you said to everybody listening, we're children, you're adults, figure this out, children are dying. Did you hear from any leaders? Did you hear from anybody in power
say there's nothing you can do to stop somebody if they want to kill. They're going to find a gun no matter the law. As a 16-year-old student who just went through this in your community with your friends, what would you say to the adults?
I want to read one of the president's tweets from over the weekend. He wrote, what do you think of this tweet and others from the president this week?
Look, and we have examples of other countries that have done more and have passed national gun control laws, and guess what? Gun violence went down. Shocking.
Except for in like places like Washington, D.C. and Chicago, where they have the toughest gun control laws in the country. And, do that. I mean, you want to focus on a mass shooting. You want to talk about, how about 800 people dying in a year in Chicago? It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Now, there are a couple of these kids. There was a guy, actually, Florida State congressman fired his aide for suggesting survivors of the Parkland massacre were crisis actors, not students in the school. Now, this should have been fairly easy to figure out if these kids were actually in the school. So, GOP Representative Sean Harrison tweeted out that his aide, Benjamin Kelly, had been let go following the disparaging comments. Tonight, Mr. Kelly was terminated from position as my district secretary. I'm appalled at and strongly denounce his comments about the Parkland students. I'm again sorry for any pain that this has caused the grieving families, blah, blah, blah. This guy, the 61-year-old Republican aide, told the Tampa Bay Times that Emma Gonzalez and David Hogg were actors who traveled to various crises when they happened. Both kids in the picture are not students, he said. Referencing a screenshot of Gonzalez and Hogg doing an interview with CNN about stricter gun laws after former Marjorie Stoneman student after Nicholas Cruz opened fire. Apparently, Kelly linked a YouTube video of Hogg and a news clip from California over a dispute with a lifeguard. Hogg said that he is a crisis actor. So I don't know. I don't know if this kid is a student or whatever, but they're very well spoken. And apparently there have been some videos of him being coached by others. And I think that, and I won't call them useful idiots, they're useful ignorance. They're just kids. And they're being used, and they're being used, and they're being stroked by people like Allison Camerata. Oh, the interview you did last time was so amazing. It's resonating across the country. You really need to say more. And it's like, what was the guy in Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory? The bad guy who'd whisper in their ear. I'm drawing a blank on the name. Maybe you can help me with it. I just saw the damn thing. Slugworth. So it's like Slugworth whispering in their ear, hey, you keep going like this and you're going to go places, kid. I'm not even there yet. I'm not even there where what I'm going to share with you about who's behind this big march in March of kids that are just reacting to the shootings last week in Florida. Here's a couple of sound bites from some of the children I believe